Bienvenidos todos. Es un placer para la Transmisión Kasparov, para la Universidad, para la Ciudad de México, recibir a
la Cámara de Prensa,
un campeón después durante 20 años, realmente mucho trabajo, ejemplo de mucha energía y sobre todo de compromiso social. Él es Ajedrez Kasparov, va a estar con nosotros en esta conferencia que dura 25 minutos y después vamos a una ronda de preguntas.
No te muevas esa cámara, no te muevas, amárrate.
Preguntas que deberán seleccionar.
Ahí amárrate, no te muevas, ahí déjanos de cuadro.
Quiero responder tu personal. En este acto, en este evento, Ajedrez Kasparov se despide de México. Él sale mañana muy temprano y queremos al mismo tiempo probarles que las preguntas sean muy claras, muy precisas y se van a seleccionar 5 preguntas nada más porque no hay suficiente tiempo. En este momento también, aparte de agradecer a las autoridades universitarias, a la Universidad de Eduardo Guerrero que está con nosotros y a su staff, al señor rector, al señor secretario de Atención a la Comunidad, el maestro César Escudillo. También queremos agradecer la presencia a nombre del licenciado Renato Sales, del maestro José Alberto Rodríguez Calderón, comisionado del órgano administrativo de concentrado de prevención y rehabilitación social que nos acompaña esta noche. También nos acompaña el maestro Jorge Bates, secretario técnico del comisionado general de la policía. La Comisión Nacional de Seguridad ha emprendido, como la Fundación Kasparov, un proyecto de trabajo directamente en los Ajedrezos y en breve haremos un anuncio importante con respecto a lo que sigue de los planes organizativos e informativos que estamos llevando a cabo juntos. Muchas gracias por su presencia y no digo más, ahora con ustedes, Ajedrez Kasparov.
Le subí más el audio que pero ya quité de la computadora. Ya entra por aquí. Ya no sé si es el de acá. Ya está, no, está el ambiental. ¿Todavía? Nada más que le subí más a las bocinas de aquí. No hablen.
My friend Jimmy asked me to have a general chat. It's working? Does? Okay, fine. So we can hear me with the air translation, yes? Okay, just to make sure that I'm not wasting our time. To talk about chess and educations and what we can do in universities and why I'm here and what we can do together. So I do guess that most of the people here either play chess or have a connection to chess, correct? Good. So that's always nice to have people who are familiar with the game. Because when I do events with simultaneous translation, my greatest concern is that the translator will get stuck with when I say Cabalon or Moscow. So if it happens now, I'm sure you will recognize the names. So that's why I don't have to say slowly Magnus Carlsen, Fabiano Caruana, or other names of the great chess players of these days. But stepping down from the very top of the chess pyramid, from professional chess to the grassroots, to the problems of ordinary chess players, their desires, their expectations. And one of the questions that I hear all the time, whether I'm addressing a chess expert like you, whether I'm addressing a totally non-chess audience of business people, or professional journalists, in different forms, one of the questions that is being interpreted is, Mr. Kasparov, can why today chess is less popular than 30, 40, even 20 years ago. Because when Fischer played Spassky, when you played Oracle, chess was much more popular, and today we can see decline. This is an interesting paradox, which I believe has something to do with the perception. Because if you look at the data, which means how many people play chess, especially how many young people play chess, when you look at the sort of combined power of all websites with playing zones, there is no doubt. There is no doubt that today, number of people who know how to play chess, who play chess occasionally or regularly, many, many times, tenfold, maybe 20 times, maybe 50 times more than when Fischer faced Spassky in 1972. But there is much less chess in the mainstream media. That's a fact. Now, this paradox has something to do with dramatic increase in number of activities that are attractive for general public. In 1972, there was no CNN. In 1985, when I played Karpov, there was just the beginning of cable TV, but no internet. Today, we can see that people can watch so many different events, taking place in so many different places. You don't have to watch Formula One, here in Mexico City, of course we will. But you can actually watch it live, if it's held in Dubai or elsewhere. So, which means the competition for the attention of an average person has risen dramatically. And if in 1972, Max Fischer-Spassky, was the biggest event of the Cold War, when I played Karpov, it was also a very big event that could make it front page of newspaper. Today, it's very hard to compete because we don't have numbers that could make competitive with other big sports. Yesterday, I don't know how many of you watched this great movie, Queen of Captain, that was shown in another building in Yunnan. So, how many of you just I'm curious, you were at the screening yesterday? Okay, I could see a few hands. I think this was a great movie, extremely well done, with attention to chess details, which is highly unusual because normally Hollywood doesn't care about, even the location of the chessboard. Sometimes you can see that the board is turned, 90 degrees, which makes me too sick. Now, every detail was carefully planned and executed, and it's a great story about chess making a huge difference in the life of a girl from a very, very poor area of Kampala, the capital of Uganda. So I read in the press that the movie actually didn't do well in the United States. I don't know what happens worldwide, but again, people, they have other things to watch. You have to actually drag their attention. We have to sell the game. When I say sell the game, don't get me wrong, sell means, to attract people who are not playing, and there's still, quite a few of them, and explaining the values of the game. And one of the greatest challenges is actually to spread it even further, to create a base that cannot be ignored by corporate sponsors and the mass media. So, the only solution that I see, and I've been advocating for it for decades, is to bring chess to education, where I believe chess belongs. It's not easy because education is very conservative, and people who are working there, so in the schools, in the universities, they always try to avoid unnecessary changes. But the fact is that today we have entered an era where it's more riskier not to make changes than to actually make them. Because if you don't make changes, if you want to preserve the status quo, you are definitely going to lose. So changes are, a vital part of the world where everybody has in his or her own pocket, a device that makes you connected to the rest of the world. Which again changes quite dramatically our relations with each other and even relations within families. And of course it has an effect in the schools. And I don't believe that that this is the device which many believe was a curse for chess, because computers are so powerful now that they can beat professional players. But I think it could be turned into a blessing, a real blessing for chess, because you can of course watch Formula 1, you can watch football, you can watch tennis on the screen. Though it's a tiny screen, this is not the most convenient. But you cannot be part of this event. While in chess, you can watch, you can follow, you can learn, you can be taught, you can actually have the engine, your engine, switched on and actually to see, amazing, yes? You can now tell immediately whether Magnus Carlsen made a mistake. So that's I can hardly understand the feelings of average players seeing the world champion making mistakes and understanding it at the same minute. Because when I played Karpov, even if we made a bad move, many professional players were trying to find an excuse because maybe we don't understand it. Now with computers, no more nonsense. Mistake is a mistake. So, if internet will record a big laugh, I'm sure sometimes when top players are facing each other and the game is live and they make mistakes, we can hear the laugh, all the way from Mexico City to Santiago de Chile. I think this is a unique opportunity for us to use the advantage of being part of this digital revolution. And the best place where we can show it is in the schools. Because typically it's this in the classroom for I don't know how many, 800 years, there was always the same balance of authority, you may call it. You have the kids in the classroom and the teacher somewhere in the center, on the podium. It has been invented ages ago and it stays the same way. And I always urge people to use their fantasy and imagine that if somebody travels from, let's say, mid-19th century to these days, to 2016, this person will be mesmerized by the changes. Maybe even paralyzed, just seeing all this stuff that was beyond imagination. But there's one thing that he or she will recognize immediately: it's the classroom. It hasn't changed. It's still the same. Okay, you have maybe computers at the desks, but basically the structure of the educational system remains intact. And it's a system where information always travels one way. So you have a center of authority and knowledge, which is the teacher, and those who are receiving information. The problem is that in the modern world, information doesn't travel one way, unless you live in North Korea. So that's in most of the countries, okay, even in Russia, when you have some kind of free exchange of information on the internet. Information travels both ways. Which means that in the classroom, explaining certain things could be important, but not as important, since kids now with slice of their finger can learn in a few minutes more than the teacher learned over years. It's a fact of life. So that's why I believe that we need to move from teaching numbers and facts in the classroom, to a new stage, teaching how, teaching methods, teaching tools, teaching patterns. And chess here is indispensable. I believe that we can utilize this unique advantage of chess, that being the game that is with us for centuries, but still quite modern and quite attractive, to support the revolution in the educational system. And by doing so, we can sort of enlarge the number of people who would like to participate in the process. You have kids, you have parents. I believe that there's so many great things that can be done in the world of chess that we haven't done yet. Because at the end of the day, it's about numbers. And I think that we need to, I believe we must find a way of bringing in people who play chess occasionally, at their leisure, at home, maybe just in a cafe. So my dream is that eventually we reach a point where every game that is played on this planet offline, just any game that can be verified, could be rated. To make sure that everybody who plays chess here is part of one global chess family, connected to truly universal rating system with every top player, including the world champion. So creating this massive movement, bringing millions of people in, so will help us to demonstrate the importance of the game, its outreach, and its ability to attract massive crowds, mostly intelligent people. So, I hope that we'll eventually do it. And what I'm planning to accomplish here in Mexico City at UNAM, working through Kasparov Chess Foundation, the American, is to start building these components in the Spanish-speaking world. Just for those who are not aware, a few words about Kasparov Chess Foundation. I started in 2002 in the United States. That's the first entity. Then there was one in Europe that succeeded in pushing the resolution of European Parliament supporting education. Then followed by KCF Africa in Johannesburg, which is probably the fastest growing and most dynamic organization, reaching many African nations and implementing programs in the schools. Then one in Singapore for Asia Pacific, 1 year in Mexico City, KCF Ibero-American, and recent one, the most recent one was in Croatia it's a regional one, since I'm now also carrying Croatian passport, and wanted to do something for my new country. So I built this for the Southern European outpost. What we're trying to achieve is to bring together chess experts, chess enthusiasts, ordinary chess players, and of course those who can make decisions on the government level, on a municipal level, corporate sponsors, to sort of create a coalition that will make all the goals I described now possible. And one of the interesting concepts here is also to connect universities, because while we're talking about kids, and that's early age, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, where you can have the maximum effect by teaching kids playing chess to help them to meet the challenges of modern education. There's also a big opportunity to work with advanced students, with those who are attending universities, because chess is a unique tool to help people to improve their decision making if you know how to analyze your own performance. And that's what we hope to achieve here at UNAM. So I had pretty interesting meetings this morning with the rector and the other officials of UNAM, and I believe that we will be moving in this direction, creating a cooperation that will make sure that chess will have its new dawn I'm describing, not only Mexico but across Latin America. Again, many things, may not happen the way we projected. But this afternoon, at this very stage, there was a little Q&A session, and I answered some questions. And one question asked by the observer was, so in your life, Mr. Kasparov, you always had some kind of grandiose goals. You always, had magnificent, plans, targets to reach. So how come it didn't help? And my answer was, well, I didn't see why I should aim lower, because even if you don't, hit your target, which is too high, you still, can recognize your own potential. Aiming high always, helps you to find something that is not yet real. And I believe that if you are aiming high, you will surprise not only people who are, around you, but sometimes you surprise yourself. And that's the way to move forward. So the greatest goal in this world, from my perspective, is to make a difference. But to make a difference, you have to dream about something that doesn't exist yet. And I feel that we reached a point where chess could make a big difference for the future of education and the future of human race. And I will do my absolutely utmost to guarantee that the role of the game that I dedicated my life to will be elevated to the level it deserves to be. Thank you very much. There are questions that being collected. I'm curious. I'm still collecting questions. And I'm not collecting questions, so I just haven't followed this. So they said they're collecting questions. Oh, okay. Yeah, but I cannot, this is, I don't know, I'm just, it's amazing. Can you? It's very difficult to sort of separate the government, different levels of the government with their responsibility. Sometimes, the local government can make, all moves, but still, ideally, you would like central authorities to actually authorize the program.
Que el gobierno local realmente no puede hacer todas las movidas. Necesita realmente que el gobierno en general sea el que esté apoyando los proyectos.
I believe I believe that we have to work with every official who expresses interest for supporting our programs, because this is like untested water. Sometimes you can find support in a quarter that you don't expect.
Que tenemos que tener la mente abierta y realmente pensar en todas las personas que pueden apoyar el proyecto. Y uno no sabe en qué lugares van a encontrar ese apoyo que se necesita. Siguiente pregunta. ¿Cuál fue su principal motivación e inspiración para formar su fundación?
The motivation, as I explained briefly, was to make sure that we can have the focal point to sort of collect all interested parties, to bring them together, and to make sure that eventually the goal of bringing chess into education will be achieved.
Realmente la idea de la fundación es reunir todas las personas que están interesadas en un solo lugar, en apoyar esos proyectos de ajedrez en la educación.
But with time, we can recognize that foundations could do more by addressing other issues. For instance, in the US now, we have been working with rising stars, so that's not a problem. So basically, we're trying to cover territory as broad as we can.
Cuando hicieron la fundación se dieron cuenta de que había muchos otros proyectos que podían comprender, de que la fundación podía hacer mucho más. Por ejemplo, en este momento en Estados Unidos tienen un programa llamado Young Stars que se enfoca en el desarrollo de grandes maestros muy jóvenes y un apoyo muy fuerte a que sean jugadores de élite.
So in some parts of the world, like in Africa, for instance, we are completing functions that in theory should be completed by the World Federation, like bringing chess sets, chess clocks that just are great rarity in many African countries.
Por ejemplo, en África tenemos proyectos que en teoría deberían de ser comprendidos por la Federación Mundial de Ajedrez, como por ejemplo traer ajedrezes a países subdesarrollados, que eso sería algo que no supuestamente le corresponde a la fundación, pero es un proyecto que han entendido que es importante.
And also, if we are here, we are aiming to attract corporate sponsors, they have to have reliable partners. And naturally, the World Federation and those local federations, they don't belong to the category of reliable partners. So that's why Kasparov's Foundation sometimes serves as the conduit for sponsors to support programs.
Para atraer patrocinadores de corporaciones, realmente necesitan proyectos con personas y fundaciones que sean confiables. Y tanto la Federación Mundial de Ajedrez como muchas federaciones locales, federaciones nacionales, son muy distintas a lo que se pueda decir confiables. ¿Qué impacto tiene el ajedrez en las personas privadas de su libertad, en razón de la inteligencia emocional o el coeficiente intelectual?
Look, I think that playing chess, where you have very limited options for other activities, it definitely doesn't hurt. And it could offer some new perspectives for a person who has confined to these kind of conditions.
Tener opciones cuando no se tiene esa libertad, definitivamente no debe estar. Tener un juego como el ajedrez puede ser muy beneficioso a alguien que está en ese tipo de condiciones privadas de su libertad.
We couldn't actually decode the question. For 30 years,
He tenido la misma posición.
comparing, great scientists. Oh, okay, I'll just, for audience, just that is more interesting. I believe there's only one way of, is identifying the sort of a true balance of power is when two players face each other.
La única forma realmente de medir ese poder es cuando dos personas se enfrentan cara a cara.
I played with Magnus Carlsen once, in rapid chess and blitz, but at that time he couldn't even vote.
Jugué con Magnus Carlsen solamente una vez en blitz y rápidas, y en ese momento no podía ni votar.
So he was, ascending, and I was about to leave chess, so definitely I had an advantage, but who cares, it was in 2004.
Él estaba ascendiendo y yo ya estaba pensando en mi retiro, pero bueno, ¿qué importa? Ya eso fue en el 2004.
Yeah. But it's also worth remembering that in chess, every new generation has a chance for learning from the previous ones, which means that they, by definition, they are better equipped with the knowledge of chess and with the technique to use it.
Las nuevas generaciones tienen el poder de estudiar a los grandes del pasado y por definición van a tener más oportunidades de tener más herramientas y ser mejores en el juego, simplemente porque así es como funciona.
So it's probably worth speaking, about the gap between the leader, the world champion, and the rest of the generation.
Es más interesante preguntarse esa brecha que hay entre el mejor jugador del mundo y lo del resto.
So definitely Fischer's gap was phenomenal, but very short game.
La brecha que tuvo Fischer sobre sus rivales era fenomenal, pero muy corta.
My gap was not as high because I had problems behind me, but it took long.
Mi brecha fue no tan amplia porque tenía a Carlos siempre en mis talones, pero definitivamente fue más larga.
Magnus is definitely dominant force, but there are many young players, that could potentially challenge him within the next couple of years.
Magnus definitivamente es una fuerza dominante, pero en este momento hay muchos jugadores jóvenes que pueden retarlo en los próximos años. El ajedrez puede ser una llave para construir relaciones sociales más humanas.
Now, look, it's worth remembering that chess as the game always had always reflected the social structure of the society, and it was kind of a reflection of its time, and the hierarchy of its time and social order.
Vale la pena recordar que el ajedrez a lo largo de la historia era básicamente una representación de la jerarquía social.
Yeah. For instance, when you look at the chess journey from India to the West, it's one route that ended up with the modern European game.
Si vemos el viaje que tuvo el ajedrez desde la India hasta Europa, donde formó realmente el ajedrez moderno,
then you look at the Oriental path, and that led to creation of Chinese chess, and especially shogi Japanese chess. The games is basically the same route, have totally different mental and social structure.
Si vemos y lo comparamos con la ruta que tuvo en el mundo oriental, que llevó al ajedrez chino, Shang-Chi, y shogi, que se juega en Japón, tienen completamente diferentes reglas y diferentes estructuras sociales.
And speaking about the final transformation of European chess from the relatively slow Arab version, Moorish version, into what we play today, it was also a reflection of the dramatic change in the warfare and the social structure.
Si vemos el cambio que tuvo el ajedrez moro en lo que jugamos hoy en día, pues es un juego mucho más rápido, y eso refleja los cambios sociales y de guerra que tenían en ese tiempo.
So it's more like the chess actually adopts, changes to sort of to stay relevant rather than unrelevant.
Entonces, más bien uno podría decir que es el ajedrez que se mantiene relevante a las relaciones sociales.
So I remember when I first heard about chess being played without the Germans, I couldn't believe that would be relevant. Now we play much more rapid and blitz because that's what's demanded by time.
Cuando me dijeron que el ajedrez se iba a dejar de jugar sin a Germans, tú digas en eso. Bueno, algo que pasó hace muchísimos años que no me acuerdo cómo se llama. Sí, bueno, a Germans decimos en Costa Rica. Y ahora estamos jugando blitz y rápidas, pues nunca me imaginé que el cambio iba a pasar.
This big 2-hour. I think the question is based on some kind of misreading of history and misinformation about chess in the Soviet Union, because saying Russia, I believe you meant Soviet Union.
Lo primero es que la pregunta se basa en una información mal interpretada sobre lo que es el ajedrez en Rusia. Creo que la pregunta más bien está enfocada en el ajedrez de la Unión Soviética.
In the Soviet Union, as in most of the communist countries, chess served as a very important element of the propaganda machine.
El ajedrez en la Unión Soviética y en los países comunistas sirvió ampliamente como parte de la propaganda.
Yeah, and that's why there were state resources allocated for such an important role to intellectual superiority.
Y por eso había muchos recursos enviados por el Estado para tratar de aprovechar ese aspecto intelectual del juego de ajedrez y tratar de decir, bueno, el intelecto comunista es un aspecto.
I'm probably the last person to complain because eventually I was one of the beneficiaries of the system that helped me players.
Soy de las últimas personas que debería de quejarse porque soy beneficiario directamente de tal proceso.
It's hard to imagine in a modern environment, the state pouring resources for pure ideological aid.
Es difícil imaginarse hoy en día que el Estado tire tantos recursos a un sistema simplemente ideológico.
So when you look at these state of chess affairs in Russia today, it's still very strong, but it's so far from being dominant.
Si vemos el ajedrez hoy en día en Rusia, definitivamente sigue siendo importante, pero está muy lejos de ser algo dominante.
There's only one country on the planet where chess is mandatory in the schools, the Republic of Armenia.
Solo hay un país en el mundo donde el ajedrez es mandatorio en las escuelas, y esa es la República de Armenia.
It's also part of the Soviet Union.
Que también es parte de la antigua Unión Soviética.
But what helps, the president of the chess federation happens to be president.
Ayuda de que el presidente de la Federación de Ajedrez también es el presidente del país.